is our Honors Chemistry Section 11.2 lesson video, and this is going to be part 1 of 2. So in this section, we're going to discuss 5 general types of reactions. Now these aren't the only types, these are just 5 common ones. And they include synthesis, decomposition, single displacement, double displacement, and combustion. Now some books will say displacement, some will say replacement, so just get used to seeing either option. So first let's start with synthesis. So in a synthesis reaction, 2 or more substances react to form one product. So that's the important part, is you are forming one product. Synthesis reactions are also sometimes called combination reactions. And so a generic reaction is A plus B is AB, yields AB. And so I always say it's like a marriage. So you have 2 things separate and then combined to form one compound. And so an actual example would be magnesium is by itself, oxygen is by itself, and then they form magnesium oxide. So for synthesis, you are making one product. So let's look at some examples. So it says predict the products for the following reactions. So we have Cu plus S, and then I gave you the hint that copper is going to have a positive 1 charge this time. All right, so when you do these, first of all, you have to figure out what type it is before you start. So I know this is synthesis because it's just 2 elements, so their only option is to combine. So I take my Cu plus my S, and so I know copper is going to have a positive 1 charge, sulfur has a negative 2 charge, so I need to cross my charges. That's the thing that people forget, is you just want to put yields CUS, which that's super easy, but it's not right. All right, and then the last thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go back and balance my reaction, because that's the reason some of y'all have trouble writing the 2 right here, is you think, well, where does the other copper come from? Well, we haven't balanced the reaction yet, so it's not like we made a new copper atom. That's impossible. We just haven't balanced. So since I have 2 Cus on this side, I would just put a 2 right here, and then I have 1 S and 1 S. Now, sometimes instead of giving you the formulas, I could give you the words, so make sure that you know how to do those word equations. So it says write the balanced equation for the combination reaction, which that's just synthesis, that occurs when lithium metal and fluorine gas react. So lithium is just Li, fluorine is F, but fluorine is a diatomic. Okay, so it's diatomic, so that means it's going to have the 2. So then it's going to form, well, they're going to bond together. So lithium has a positive 1 charge, fluorine has a negative 1. Notice I didn't bring the 2 over. Fluorine only has the 2 right here because it's by itself and it's diatomic. Over here, it's now bonded with lithium. If I put a 2 here, then the charges can't balance. So I don't need the 2. The way I fix the fact that I have a 2 on this side is I balance the reaction. So I have 2 F's on this side and only 1 here, so I put a 2. Now I have 2 Li's, so I put a 2, just like that. All right, and then our bottom one. It says, maybe practice this one on your own, pause it, try it, I'll assume you've done that. Write the balanced equation for the reaction that occurs when the surface of aluminum metal undergoes a combination reaction with oxygen in the air. So we have aluminum and oxygen. So don't read into this and start thinking it's something super hard. So aluminum is just Al, it's not a diatomic, and oxygen is O. It is a diatomic. All right, and so then I'm just going to bond them together. So aluminum has a positive 3 charge, oxygen has a negative 2, so aluminum needs a 2 and oxygen needs a 3. And then I need to balance my reaction. So I have 1 aluminum here and 2 here, so I'm going to put a 2. I have 2 oxygens here, but I have 3 here. Whenever you have a 2 and a 3, the easiest thing to do is just make them both 6. So 3 times 2 makes 6. 2 times 3 makes 6. However, I've already balanced aluminum, but now I've messed it up. I have 2 on this side, but now I have 4 over here. So I need to go back and fix aluminum with 4. So see, now I have 4 aluminum, 6 oxygen, 6 oxygen. So whenever you have a 2 and a 3, just make them both into 6. That's the easiest way to do that. All right, so this is what synthesis is like. We have 2 or more substances combining to form one product. So that's what you're looking for, is you're just bonding to form one product. So synthesis is like a marriage. 2 things coming together as one. Decomposition is the opposite. It's like a divorce. So a decomposition reaction occurs when a single reactant breaks down into 2 or more products. So that's how you recognize a decomposition reaction is you're going to start with one reactant. And so a generic reaction would look like this. You have A and B together, and then they split up into A plus B. And so here's an actual example. Hg and O are together, and then they split up into Hg and O2. And so see, this is what it would look like. They're together, they split apart. So like I said, synthesis is like a marriage, decomposition, unfortunately, is like a divorce. So let's look at a few examples of decomposition. So the main thing that's going to hit some of y'all in decomposition is forgetting about the diatomics. So remember the 7 diatomics. You start at number 7, which is N, you make a big 7. So it's NOFClBrI, and then you have to remember hydrogen. Those are the diatomics. When they're by themselves, they have a 2 as a substance. So it says predict the products for the following reaction. H2O yields. So I can already tell, okay, well it's H and O together, the only option is for them to split apart. So I'll start with my H2O. So it's obviously going to break into hydrogen. Hydrogen is H2 because it's a diatomic. And it's going to break into oxygen. Oxygen is O2. It is also a diatomic. Okay, it doesn't matter that it didn't have the 2 over here. It has to have the 2 when it's by itself. So how do I fix that it looks like we created an oxygen? I just balance the reaction. So I have 2 hydrogens, 1 oxygen, 2 oxygens. So I need a 2. But now I have 4 hydrogens. So I'll put a 2 there, so I'll also have 4 hydrogens. Okay, so let's look at our next one. So it says, write the balanced equation for the decomposition reaction that occurs when solid barium carbonate is heated to form barium oxide and carbon dioxide. So see on this one, they told you what the products are. So like if it's not just something breaking up into its elements, I'll usually tell you what the products are. So in this case, this is really just a word equation problem. All right, so we have barium carbonate, so barium is Ba with a positive 2 charge. Carbonate is CO3 with a negative 2 charge. It says it's heated to form. So hopefully you remember to put your triangle, because it was heated. Heated to form solid barium carbonate. So barium is Ba with a positive 2. Carbonate CO3 negative 2. Oh, sorry, I've read the wrong line. Is heated to form barium oxide. Okay, I was wondering. I was like, wait a minute, that's what we started. Is heated to form barium oxide. So barium's Ba positive 2. Oxide's O negative 2, so I don't need to cross anything. And, so I put my plus, carbon dioxide. So carbon dioxide is just CO2. Alright, so all I have to do is just follow what it told me. So like I said, if it's just breaking up into its elements, I'm not going to tell you the products. But if the products are going to be something that you might not be able to come up with on your own, I'll tell you what they are. But then the last thing is, of course, we need to balance it. So I have 1 Ba, 1 Ba, 1 C, 1 C, 3 O's, 1 and 2, which is 3 O's. Alright, so maybe pause it and you try the bottom one, and then we'll look at it together. So it says, write the balanced equation for the reaction that occurs when solid mercury 2 sulfide decomposes into elements. So this time, I need to come up with them myself. So mercury 2 sulfide. Mercury is just Hg. The 2 means the charge. Sulfide is S with a negative 2, so I don't need to cross anything here. It decomposes, so I'll put my arrow into its elements. So mercury is not a diatomic, so it's just going to be Hg. S is also not a diatomic, so it's just going to be S. Alright, and so hopefully you got that one right. So let's move on to the next type, which is single replacement or single displacement. It depends on what book you're looking at. Alright. So for single displacement, in a single displacement reaction, it occurs when one element replaces a second element in a compound. So what you're going to see is you're going to have something single on both sides, like it's not bonded. And so here's an actual example. Here zinc is single, here copper is single, here are 2 that are paired up, and here are 2 that are paired up. So the important thing is, what do you switch with what? Well, when you are bonding things, you need to remember that it has to be a positive bonded with a negative. Okay, so you can't bond 2 positives, you can't bond 2 negatives, and that'll help keep you straight on what's going to bond with what. Alright, so let's look at a couple together, and then you can try the bottom one. So we have Br2 and NaI. This is an I, by the way, it's not an L. The font I use doesn't have the little lines on it. Alright, so that I'll know what is going to swap places or what's going to bond, I go ahead and write my charges before I start. So I know Br forms a -1 charge, Na has a +1, and I has a -1. So that makes me know, okay, well, Br and I aren't going to bond. Na and Br are going to bond because, see, it has to be a positive and a negative. Now, the other thing you need to remember is when you're writing a formula, the positive always comes first. So I'm going to have Na positive, Br negative. Remember, I'm not going to bring the little 2 over because it's only diatomic when it's by itself. When it's bonded with Na, it doesn't need a 2 because it's positive and negative. All right, and then now I is going to be left alone. Well, I is a diatomic, so it's going to be I2. Okay, so again, you've got to keep the diatomics straight. You've got to make sure you're bonding a positive and a negative. So now I need to balance. I have 2 Brs and only 1, so I'm going to put a 2. I have 1 Na, but now I have 2, so I'm going to put a 2. I have 2 Is and 2 Is. All right, so let's look at our next one. So on the next one, because we have iron by itself, I gave you a hint of what charge it's going to have. So I'm going to go ahead and start with my charges so I can figure out what's going to bond. So Fe, I told you, is positive 3. Pb can have multiple charges because it's under the stair step, so I have to look at NO3. NO3 is negative 1, but because I have 2 of them, that's negative 2. So lead has to be positive 2. So I can see that like iron and lead can't bond together because they're both positive. What's going to happen is iron is going to bond with nitrate. So let's do that. So I have my iron. I'm putting it first because it's the positive one, and I'm going to bond it with nitrate. Now, notice I did not bring this 2 over. This 2 was here because it was bonded to lead. So 2 of them were required to balance lead's charge. Now it's bonded with iron, so now it needs a 3. Okay, so remember, you're not bringing over subscripts when you come to the product side. And now, lead is going to be by itself. Lead is not a diatomic, so it's just Pb. So last step, I just need to balance. So I have 1 Fe, 1 Fe, 1 Pb, 1 Pb, 2 nitrates, 3 nitrates. So remember, I told you, when you have a 2 and a 3, the easiest thing to do is make them both 6. So 2 times 3 is 6. 3 times 2 is 6. But now I messed up lead and iron. So see, now I have 3 leads, so I would need a 3. And I have 2 irons, so I need a 2. And so again, you can start to see that a lot of basic skills are being combined to do these. So this unit is when it starts getting really hard. I know some of you probably thought Unit 3 was really hard, but this is just hard in a totally different way. All right, so maybe pause it and you try number 3 real quick, and then I'll assume you've done that. We'll look at it together. So I gave you the hint that zinc is positive 2, hydrogen's positive 1, sulfate's negative 2. So I can see that zinc and hydrogen cannot bond. Zinc is going to bond with sulfate. So I'll put zinc first because, of course, it has the positive charge. Sulfate has a negative 2 charge, so they cancel out. And then when hydrogen is by itself, it's diatomic, so I have H2. And if you look, you don't even have to balance it. It's already balanced. So hopefully you got that one right. All right, so there's one more thing that we have to talk about when it comes to single replacement or single displacement reactions, and that's something called the activity series. So a list of metals arranged in order of decreasing ease of oxidation is called an activity series. Active metals are at the top of the series and are most easily oxidized. That means they become ions. Instead of being the solid metal form, they become an ion. Noble metals are at the bottom of the series, and they are not very reactive, just like noble gases on the periodic table are not reactive. So this is the important part. Any metal, so that's your solid form, any metal on the list can be oxidized by the ions of elements below it. So what you're going to do is you're going to find the solid metal, which is just the metal by itself, and then you're going to find the metal ion, and I'll show you what I mean in an example in just a second. If the metal ion is above the solid metal, then it's not going to react. If the metal ion is below the solid metal, it will react. Okay, so at this point, you would have to decide, is a reaction going to occur or not? So here's the activity series. You have this in your packet. Otherwise, you can easily find one online. So like, for example, if I was looking at solid magnesium, it could react with a nickel ion. It can react with a zinc ion, because those are both below it. But if there was a calcium ion present, it would not react. So you find the solid metal and then the ion, and if the ion's below a reaction will occur. If not, no reaction occurs. All right, so it says, will an aqueous solution of iron 2 chloride oxidize magnesium metal? If so, write the balanced equation. All right, so I'm going to write over here what we're working with, and then I'll click back to our activity series. Okay, so we have iron 2 chloride. So iron is Fe, the 2 means positive 2, chloride Cl negative, so I need a 2. So this is my ion. See how it has the charge? And then it says, will it oxidize magnesium metal? So this is just my normal metal. All right, so what we need to do is find magnesium and see, is the iron ion below it? Okay, so I'm going to go back to my activity series. That's so weird because I just randomly picked magnesium a second ago. So here's magnesium. That's my metal. See how it doesn't have a charge? So I need to see if iron is below it. So I see iron is below it, so that means the reaction is going to occur. So I can write the reaction, and I'll show you what you put if it won't occur, by the way. So I already wrote my formula, so iron 2 chloride and magnesium. Okay, I'm going to put my charges again, so we have +2, negative. When magnesium forms an ion, it's going to be +2. The reason I didn't write it over here was I didn't want to confuse you, so you didn't know which one was the metal and which one was the iron. The ion. But I'm putting it over here so you can figure out what's going to bond. So we can see magnesium and iron can't bond because they're both positive. Magnesium is going to bond with chlorine. So magnesium is going to come first because it's the positive. Chlorine is -1, so it's going to need the 2. And now iron is going to be by itself. Iron is not a diatomic, so it's just going to be Fe. And then it says write the balanced equation, but it's already balanced, so I don't even have to do anything. Now, if for some reason the ion had been above magnesium and it wouldn't react, you just write NR or no reaction. Okay, don't make the products, because what that means is no reaction is going to occur. Just because you mix two things together doesn't necessarily mean you're going to get a reaction. So here, of course, is our reaction that I just showed you. And so then our next one, it says, which of the following metals will be oxidized by PbNO3(2), so lead nitrate? You have zinc, copper, and iron. Okay, so we have zinc, we have copper, and we have iron, and we're trying to see which of those will react with PbNO3(2). Okay, so I can clearly see this is -1 for nitrate, and then there's 2, so this is +2. So lead is my lead is my ion, and these are my 3 metals. So we need to see lead is under which of these. All right, so let's go back to our activity series. All right, so first I'll find zinc. So zinc is right here, and I need to see if lead is under it. So if I look, lead is under it, so it will react with zinc metal. All right, next I'll find copper. So copper is right here. Lead ion is actually above copper. So if you mix copper with lead nitrate, no reaction will happen. And then I find iron. So iron is right here. My lead ion is below iron, so it will also react with iron. So if we click back, the 2 that it will react with are zinc and iron. So for example, if I had given you the question about copper plus lead nitrate, like say it had looked like this, and I was saying what would the products be, since there wouldn't be a reaction, you don't write any products, you just write NR or no reaction. Alright, so that was synthesis, decomposition, and single displacement, including the activity series. Watch part 2 to get double displacement and combustion.